Tired of spending hours in the kitchen struggling with mediocre tools that promise the world but deliver nothing? Today we are putting 7 of the most hyped kitchen gadgets to the ultimate test to see which ones actually deserve a spot on your counter. 7. TrendPlain Ver001. When I first picked up the TrendPlain, I was drawn to its sleek, modern aesthetic and the promise of a mess-free pouring experience. On paper, having a dedicated glass bottle with a specialized spout for cooking oils or vinegar seems like a no-brainer for any organized kitchen. The glass body feels reasonably sturdy, and it holds a decent amount of liquid, which means you are not constantly refilling it after every few meals. It definitely looks a lot nicer sitting next to the stove than the bulky, branded plastic bottles that cooking oil typically comes in from the grocery store. However, after spending a couple of weeks using it for everything from pan-frying eggs to dressing salads, the cracks in its design started to show quite literally. The dispensing mechanism, which is supposed to provide a smooth, controlled stream, is surprisingly temperamental. Sometimes you get a nice, even drizzle, but other times it unexpectedly glugs out way more oil than you intended, completely drowning your vegetables. It lacks the precision you really want when trying to control your oil intake or finesse a delicate dish. Another issue I ran into is the supposed leak-proof seal around the top collar. After a few days of regular use, I started noticing a fine layer of grease accumulating around the neck of the bottle. It turns out that when you tilt the bottle back up right after pouring, a tiny amount of oil inevitably drips down the side instead of going back into the spout. This means I had to constantly wipe down the bottle to keep it from becoming a slippery hazard, which completely defeats the purpose of a mess-free dispenser. 6. 7-Pen 832667 Food Scale for Kitchen. A good digital scale is arguably one of the most important tools for any serious home cook or baker, so I had high expectations for this unit. Right out of the box, the scale presents a very slim, minimalist profile that easily slips into a drawer or stands vertically inside a cabinet without taking up precious storage space. It can measure in multiple units, including grams, ounces, and milliliters, which is incredibly handy when you are following international recipes or focusing on precise portion control for meal prepping. The weighing platform is adequately sized for most standard mixing bowls, and the digital display is large and generally easy to read from a distance. I put it to the test by measuring out flour for sourdough bread, portioning out ground beef for smash burgers, and even weighing coffee beans for my morning brew. In terms of raw accuracy, the 7-Pen scale did a fair job. It registered small changes in weight reasonably well, and the tare function allowed me to zero out my bowls quickly so I could add multiple ingredients into a single container. But my experience with the 7-Pen scale was definitely not without its frustrations. The biggest letdown is the build quality of the device itself. The plastic casing feels incredibly flimsy, hollow, and cheap to the touch. It simply does not feel like a durable piece of equipment that could survive an accidental drop off the kitchen counter. When pressing the touch-sensitive buttons, there is a distinct lack of tactile feedback, and occasionally, the buttons completely fail to register my fingers, especially if my hands are even slightly damp from washing vegetables or doing dishes. 5. Linoroso LKS Kitchen Shears. Let me tell you, these have quickly become one of the most reached-for items in my entire kitchen. Before testing these, I used to rely on a cheap pair of scissors that came with a basic knife block, and I had no idea what I was missing. The Linoroso shears are forged from high-quality stainless steel and boast a heavy-duty construction that instantly feels premium in your hand. The blades are incredibly thick and sharp, making them capable of tackling a surprisingly wide variety of culinary tasks. During my testing, I used these shears for everything you could possibly imagine. Snipping fresh herbs like chives and parsley directly over a dish was an absolute breeze, yielding clean cuts without bruising the delicate leaves. I also used them to break down a whole chicken, cutting right through the rib bones and joints with astonishing ease.
The micro-serrated edge on one of the blades really grips onto slippery foods like raw poultry or fish,
preventing the food from sliding away as you make your cut. It is this level of thoughtful engineering that sets these shears apart from standard kitchen scissors. One of the standout features of the Linoroso shears is their multifunctional design. Nestled between the handles, there is a built-in nutcracker and a bottle opener. I initially thought these were just gimmicks, but they genuinely work quite well. I popped open a few bottles of sparkling water effortlessly, and the nutcracker grip also doubles as a fantastic tool for twisting off stubbornly tight jar lids. The handles themselves are ergonomically designed and coated in a comfortable, non-slip material that prevents hand fatigue, even when you are bearing down on something tough like a lobster shell. 4. Farberware 526-4312 Pump Spinner. If you eat a lot of fresh salads, you already know that washing and properly drying your greens is essential. Wet lettuce not only waters down your dressing, but also turns your salad into a soggy, unappetizing mess. I have used various crank-style salad spinners in the past, but the pump mechanism on this Farberware model completely changes the game. It is a large, high-capacity spinner that comfortably accommodates enough greens for a family-sized salad in one go. The standout feature here is undoubtedly the pump action handle located right on the top lid. Instead of awkwardly cranking a handle in a circle, you simply press down on the plunger. This single downward motion generates a tremendous amount of spinning force inside the bowl. I tested it with freshly washed romaine, spinach, and even heavy wet kale. A few effortless pushes on the pump had the internal basket spinning at high speeds, violently throwing all the excess water off the leaves and into the outer bowl. I also really appreciate the inclusion of a click-stop brake button. Once your greens have spun for a few seconds, you press the brake and the basket comes to an immediate, satisfying halt. There is no waiting around for it to slow down on its own. The clear outer bowl is also elegantly designed and doubles perfectly as a serving dish. Once my lettuce was dry, I simply dumped out the water, tossed the greens right back into the clear bowl with my dressing, and brought it straight to the dinner table. It saves an extra dish from needing to be washed. The build quality is excellent, with a sturdy plastic construction that feels solid. The pump mechanism operates smoothly without any catching or grinding, and the non-slip ring on the base ensures that the entire unit stays firmly planted on the counter while spinning. 3. Ioion KYMQ-44B-AH-BS. I will admit, I was initially skeptical of electric spice grinders. Twisting a manual pepper mill never seemed like a massive hardship to me. However, after using this upgraded Ioion model for several weeks, I am completely hooked. The convenience of one-handed operation is something you do not realize you need until you have it. Whether I'm stirring a simmering pot of soup with one hand or dealing with raw meat, being able to simply press a button to dispense freshly ground pepper is incredibly convenient. This particular model boasts an upgraded motor that powers through tough peppercorns and coarse sea salt with zero hesitation. The grinding mechanism is ceramic, which is a huge plus because it won't rust over time or absorb flavors from your spices. I tested it with a blend of tricolor peppercorns, pink Himalayan salt, and even some dried coriander seeds. The grinder handled all of them effortlessly, delivering a consistent, aromatic grind every single time. It feels substantial and well-constructed, with a sleek, modern exterior that looks fantastic displayed on the dining table. What truly elevates the Ioion grinder is the precise adjustable coarseness dial. By twisting the knob at the bottom, you can easily switch between a fine, powdery grind ideal for soups and sauces to a rough, coarse crack, perfect for seasoning a thick steak before searing. The adjustments are distinct and reliable, giving you complete control over the texture of your seasoning. Furthermore, the built-in LED light automatically illuminates the area you are seasoning. This might sound silly, but when you are cooking in a dimly lit kitchen or trying to see exactly how much salt you are adding to a dark stew, that little light is an absolute lifesaver. 2. Anova Culinary ANVS01 US00. If you are serious about food storage, meal prep, or sous vide cooking, a vacuum sealer is non-negotiable, and Anova has absolutely knocked it out of the park with this model. This machine is designed to extract air from a plastic bag and create an airtight heat seal, drastically extending the shelf life of your food. I have tested it extensively, sealing everything from bulk-bought chicken breasts and delicate fish fillets to fresh berries and blocks of cheese. The Anova Precision Sealer stands out primarily for its incredibly compact and minimalist design. Unlike the bulky, heavy vacuum sealers of the past that take up half a cabinet, this unit is slim, lightweight, and easily stows away in a shallow drawer. Despite its small footprint, it packs a surprisingly powerful vacuum pump. With a single press of a button, it aggressively sucks the air out of the bag, tightly conforming the plastic to the contours of the food. It takes mere seconds, and the resulting seal is incredibly strong and thick, ensuring no air leaks back in. One of the features I love most is the separate pulse vacuum function. This is absolutely critical when you are sealing delicate items like soft breads, muffins, or fresh berries that would easily be crushed by the full force of the automatic vacuum. By using the pulse button, I was able to carefully control the amount of air being removed, stopping right before the food started to squish, and then manually engaging the heat seal. It gives you an amazing level of precision that makes the machine versatile enough for virtually any type of food. 1. Typhur HT06-DE. Let me make a bold statement. This is the absolute best, most crucial tool you can own if you ever cook meat. Cooking chicken, steak, or pork without an accurate thermometer is essentially just guessing, which leads to dry, overcooked, or dangerously undercooked meals. I have used dozens of digital thermometers over the years, but the Typhur InstaProbe operates on an entirely different level of technological brilliance. The speed and accuracy of this device are simply staggering. Typhur claims a reading time of an incredible fraction of a second, and in my rigorous testing, it absolutely lived up to the hype. The instant you insert the probe into a piece of meat, the vibrant OLED screen displays the exact internal temperature. There is no waiting, no watching numbers slowly tick up while the heat escapes from your oven or grill. I used it while reverse searing a prime rib roast and grilling chicken thighs, and the lightning-fast readings allowed me to pull the meat at the exact precise moment for a flawless medium rare and perfectly juicy chicken. The build quality is nothing short of exceptional. It feels heavy, robust, and completely professional in the hand. The entire unit is fully waterproof, meaning you can confidently wash it directly under the faucet without worrying about ruining the internal electronics. The probe itself is incredibly thin, which minimizes the puncture hole in your meat, keeping all those precious juices locked inside where they belong. Additionally, the built-in magnet on the back is incredibly strong, allowing me to stick it securely to the side of my refrigerator or the control panel of my grill for immediate access.